You guys have probably noticed on YouTube there's a huge trend of videos that are like how to film yourself or 3 quick tips of how to better film yourself. And I think that the reason why this is a big trend is because it's very searchable on YouTube, because what do we all have to do when we make videos? We all have to film ourselves. So it makes sense that there are a lot of videos breaking down that process, because if you're like me, the way that you think about filming yourself is that it is the biggest pain in the butt ever. I think any one of us would love to have a muse or some sort of model who would kill to be in all of our videos. It just makes the whole process a lot easier, but unfortunately most of us are stuck with ourselves. So why is it a pain in the butt? What is the barrier to filming yourself? Well, framing sort of a mirrored image of yourself is a huge pain. It's tough when you have the camera a certain distance away and then you're in the frame. Sometimes you can't quite see it from a distance. Beyond that, and even more simply though, is just the physical process. I don't know about you guys, but I find when I'm filming myself or getting B-roll or what have you, whether it's on a client shoot or a YouTube video, even just the process of moving the tripod, moving the lights, etc., I feel like by the time I get to the shot, 30 minutes have passed and I'm covered in sweat. At least this is how the process used to feel until I made a total change in my workflow that really truly was a game changer. And it was so simple. Oftentimes the barrier is just the weight of the tripod. Moving the tripod around can be exhausting, resetting it, etc. When I think about collecting shots of myself for my videos, I sometimes just get overwhelmed because I'm like, I don't want to have to do setup after setup, and it just sounds exhausting. And so I freeze up and I don't want to do the process. So what was the major change that suddenly allowed me in these recent videos to amass so many more shots? Now, I'm still doing specific lighting for each shot, and what I'm doing there is just typically using one light and just strategically placing it in a way that's quote-unquote cinematic, keeps the lighting setup simple. But the biggest change that I've adapted is just using a super light tripod. So this tripod is the Surrey AT10. I'm not sponsored by Surrey in this video. They didn't reach out to me. They didn't send me this product. This is something I just bought on my own because it dawned on me. I was like, it's such a pain to use a heavy tripod. And, coming from the narrative film background, it's so ingrained in my mind. Get a big, heavy tripod. Get something that's really smooth in the pans and tilts. The heavier, the bigger, the better. You can throw whatever camera on there that you want. Yeah, that's great for narrative stuff, but for YouTube, you need to be light, you need to be nimble. And I had a travel tripod from Benro. It's a great tripod, but it's like 25 pounds, but it's still really heavy duty. It's not something you can like slip in a backpack. This tripod weighs 1.25 pounds, I believe. It's made of carbon fiber, so it's super light. And I'm not trying to sell you on this tripod. I think there's a ton of these kinds of tripods that are super lightweight, super portable, super compact. I do wish it had a ballpoint leveler on it. It's just a little bit difficult to level, but it's just such a simple design. I can twist the legs out. I can tighten them at whatever length I want. It's just so quick. It's so nimble. But then when it comes to the actual process of filming the videos, amassing B-roll or shots or setups or what have you, I mean, look at this thing. I can just grab this and simply place it somewhere else and then tweak the lighting, of course, but suddenly I have an entirely new shot. Rather than setting up a shot in minutes, I can set it up in seconds. And then there's actually a physical component to this. I'm not getting all sweaty because I'm just grabbing a lightweight tripod and just plopping it somewhere else. So if you're wondering why in my recent videos I'm able to capture so many shots, that's the biggest change. And I kind of waffled back and forth on whether or not this was worth making a video about, but I kept thinking this was so revelatory for me, which maybe is silly, but I was making videos with a heavier tripod. Now, to give you an idea, when I made a short film, had a pretty ambitious shot list several years ago, an actual narrative short film, I remember having to do 30 setups. And it was just the most overwhelming thing ever. And granted, you've got actors, you've got heavier gear, you've got a crew, etc. So it's a different beast. But for my recent videos that I've been making, I've been knocking out as many as 100 setups sometimes. And that's by and large a result of just having a much smaller, lighter tripod and just a much more stripped down workflow and setup. I'm not the first person to talk about simplifying your gear, but I think there is something to be said for just put the camera on, don't use extra monitors if you can get away with it, throw it on a light tripod and just knock out those shots. Keep your lighting simple, one light, just keep moving. And there's something about having a massive amount of shots that really keeps a video interesting and propels the viewer through the videos. I don't think it's necessary for everyone, but if you are struggling with not just how do I film myself, but how do I film myself in such a way that I can amass more shots, I think this is a game changer. It certainly was for me, that I figured why not share it with you. Hopefully it's helpful for you guys. Get a super lightweight carbon fiber tripod. It doesn't have to be this one, and I think you'll be amazed at how many more shots you can amass, whether it's for a client project or for a YouTube video. So don't let the gear overwhelm you. Don't even let the weight of the gear be an obstacle to getting stuff done. If it is an obstacle, strip it all away, simplify the process. And if you're feeling lazy, maybe use a much lighter tripod like myself. I'm Scott Jeschke. Thank you all for watching. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.